My name is Gavin Evans, and this is my review of Evil Dead Rise. And if you ask people what their favorite horror franchise is, you'll get a number of answers. Some people will say Child's Play. Some people will say Friday the 13th. Some people will say Nightmare on Elm Street. Some people will say Insidious. Some might say Halloween. But if you ask me, my answer is Evil Dead. I've only seen a few episodes of the TV show, but I really liked what I saw, and you got yourself four really good movies. The first one is just perfection. It holds up incredibly well. It's got some low budget charm to it while still being legitimately scary. Evil Dead 2, I don't like as much as everyone else, but I still really enjoyed it. It's a very fun, campy movie with a fantastic performance by Bruce Campbell. Army of Darkness, I love. It is such a weird, unique type of fantasy movie. I love the practical effects. I think it's hilarious and it just fully delivers in every way. And the 2013 Evil Dead is just horrific. It is brutal and gnarly and just really effective. That scene when she rips her arm off is one of the most sickening scenes I've seen in a movie, and I love it. And I'm happy to say that trend continues with Evil Dead Rise. This is yet another really good movie in this franchise, and I am thrilled about that. I really am. Let's just get the obvious out of the way. This movie's fucked up. It is very brutal and very horrific in moments. If you enjoy Carnage Candy, then you'll love this movie. But if you're squeamish at all, this movie isn't for you. I wouldn't say it's as bloody as the 2013 movie, but there's moments where it comes close, especially in that last act. The last act of this movie is just perfection. I loved it. It's kind of reminded me of The Shining a little bit. It kind of reminded me of The Last of Us 2 a little bit, and I just really loved what they delivered on here. There was one scene with a cheese grater that's just like 2 seconds long, but it got under my skin, and it just fully delivers on the bloody horror you've come to expect from these movies. And I also really loved how this movie leaned into some of the campy elements from the original movies. It doesn't lean into it as much as those movies did, but it's definitely present. There was one scene with an eyeball that's really gross, but it also made me laugh just a little bit, to be honest. And whenever the Deadites are speaking and they're just being very R-rated, very edgy, they just say some of the most absurd stuff that you're just like, what the hell is this? Like, fuck. So I really liked that aspect of the movie. I liked some of the added mythology here. Like, the Book of the Dead isn't the same Book of the Dead that we've seen before. It's a completely new addition to this universe, and I dug it a lot, actually. I think this movie is also really well directed by Lee Cronin. He did this movie a few years ago called The Hole in the Ground, and that movie bored me to tears, but it was very well shot, and he brings his visual eye to this movie. There are some very impressive shots here, but honestly, my favorite thing that he did in this movie is in the first 5 minutes. When the words Evil Dead Rise appear on the screen, I had the biggest smile on my face. I'm like, oh shit, that's awesome. I love that so much. The cast also does a good job. Lily Sullivan is good. Alyssa Sutherland is good. I thought Morgan Davies, she gave a good performance. Gabriel Icolos is good as well. And Nell Fisher is good as well. Like, no one's great or exceptional, but they all serve their purpose well enough. I do wish maybe they had a bit more to work with. The characters aren't the most interesting, but they're also not why you go to these movies. There are two moments that actually frustrated me, though. There's one moment where someone is listening to something as all this carnage is going on, and it just feels like that scene from The Amazing Spider-Man when Spider-Man and Lizard are fighting and Stan Lee's got his headphones in, and it kind of reminded me of that scene, but not in a good way. I'm just like, come on, like, do your job. You know, look out for them. Why would you tell them to get out of your sight? Like, come on, look after the kids. So that scene really frustrated me. There's also one scene where someone opens a door that maybe they shouldn't have, and that scene was really frustrating. But yeah, what else can I say? I do wish this movie was scarier. It delivers on the carnage and the blood and the brutality. I wish it delivered a bit more on the tension, but it doesn't, and that's fine, I guess. The first act does drag. It feels like it takes a bit too long to get going. And the thing that makes this Evil Dead movie different is that it takes place in an apartment building, but I don't think they lean into that nearly enough. It could have taken place at a cabin in the woods or whatever. I wish they utilized this premise a bit more, because it still just feels like another Evil Dead movie. And you need to know that going into it. This isn't anything new. If you've seen the Evil Dead movies, this delivers more of the same. You know, you've got demon possession and people hurting themselves and those around them. You've got lots of blood. You know, you know what you're expecting from this movie, and you get exactly that. Maybe I would have liked a bit more, but for what this movie is, I still had a really fun time with it. Like, it is gnarly, it is brutal, it really goes for it. I think it's very well directed. I liked how it embraced some of the camp from the previous movies, and that last act is just awesome. So I definitely recommend it. This would be one of my favorite movies of the year so far, and I'll give it a 7 out of 10. I do have to comment that my experience with this movie, though, was slightly tainted by the terrible sound in my theater. It was way too loud, and I'm someone who likes my movies loud, so I get lost in the movie, but this was excessive. Like, I know it was my theater and not the movie itself, but like, there was a few scenes in the movie where someone is screaming or yelling out, and I actually had to cover my ears because, shit, like, I see movies in IMAX all the time, and this was like 5 times louder than that, and I'm not exaggerating. It was way this really annoyed by that. But anyways, see this movie. But did you see Evil Dead Rise? What did you think? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Stay tuned for some more videos soon. And Gavin out.